Last week for the Krispy Kreme National Series, we were down in Florida for the second time of the season, and it was a bonfire underneath the lights at that fast mile and a half, and it was William Ayers getting his first win on the season and the third win for Alpha Prime Racing. Here today, 36 draws will tackle one of the toughest tracks to tame, and oh yeah, we have added some more tire wear compared to last year. Almost 4 seconds to fall off in both series this weekend, and it's going to be a fun one. It's the Pilot Flying J 300 at Darlington for race 6 of the season. What's up everyone, it's your boy NS Racing 97, aka Nathan Stapleton here, and welcome back to Darlington Raceway, and this is going to be a fun one. 56 laps on tap here today, one of the longer races laps wise, but still going to go by pretty fast at this 1.3 mile racetrack, and it's going to be interesting on how things shake out, because like I said, it's going to be about 35 laps on fuel, and it's going to be about 3 to 4 seconds of tire fall off, so you definitely want to play some strategy games in this one, but definitely need to manage your stuff. We got Matthew Huber up here in the booth, who's had a very strong start as a owner here in the National Series 3. In the first 5 races you have won, with Local Millions with 2, and then William Ayers last time out at Homestead. Welcome to the booth at Darlington Raceway.
Great to be back here in the booth for the Krispy Kreme National Series. Anyways, yeah, it's the fact that we're leading the point standings in both categories just shows how important the reins are in this series. But William Ayers starting on pole, and Matthew Burnett trying to turn his season around, starting 5th. It's gonna be interesting to see how they'll fare with the tire fall-off. As you said, about 3 to 4 seconds of tire fall-off. It's gonna make things interesting to see how the pit cycle will do. If you want to pit earlier, pit later maybe. It's a double-edged sword around here. Especially if you get damage off of turn 2, maybe even turn 4.
Oh yeah, exactly. Tire is going to be a big factor, and you hit the nail on the head. Also have to watch out for Darlington Stripe, and maybe a couple of Darlington Slams off of turn 2 for the most part. And we'll see how that factors in, because you might pit early, but if you have damage, you're going to have to pit later and stay on pit road than some of the other guys that keep it clean during that first one. It's going to be a very interesting race. Of course, Darlington, very narrow racetrack, and it's not impossible to pass, but it's going to be interesting, especially with that double the amount of tire than what we saw last year. The drivers wanted it, I wanted it, so it's going to be interesting on what ends up happening here for race 6 of the season already, and we're almost halfway through the regular season, race 6 of 16 in the regular season here today. And Logan Williams is the point leader, still has a 34 point lead over Chris Jericho in second. Allison Lowe is in third, minus 43, but Bo Crown Jr. had a great race at Homestead last time out, in fourth, minus 47 now. Carlos Miller in fifth, minus 48, same with William Ayers, last week's winner, also minus 48. Ben Watson in 7th, minus 53. Angel Gutierrez in 8th, minus 59. Jordan Stout in 9th, minus 60. And then running out of the top 10 is Nick Lopez in 10th, minus 61. And as things stand, if the chase started today, obviously he doesn't still have 2 races to go, but Felicity Mendoza and Ryan Delani would be the first 2 in on points, as there are no winners outside of the top 10 through 20. But it's going to be interesting on what ends up happening here today. 3 to 4 seconds of tire fall off, roughly 33 to 36 laps on fuel. And it is the number 45 of William Ayers, last week's winner, on the pole, and alongside is Kyle Craven in the number 15. Roll number 2 is the number 39 of Aaron Abel and the number 11 of Jordan Stout. Roll number 3 is Matthew Burnett, and the number 51 of Carlos Miller with another good qualifying one. And then in row 4, we got the number 16, the Daytona of Anthony Hernandez. And Caleb Bowles has been very fast in the mile halves, and we'll see what he can do here today. And then running out the top 10, it's Ben Watson in the 48 and the 97 of Eric Monaco. I'm going to show you the rest of the field so you can find where you're starting here. And I'm going to give it up to you. Who do you think will win here today at Darlington Raceway?
This one's got to be a bit of a wild card, but starting on the outside lane, but he has been really strong, although the results don't really show for it. 38 of Caleb Rose is my pick to win, almost won at Atlanta, and is usually really strong in the Rain Series.
Very good pick right there. He could have won Atlanta, could have won Las Vegas until he had a mechanical issue, and of course had another great one at Homestead last time out. And I think a win is just around the corner for that 38 machine, and we'll see if it happens here today at the Lady in Black for that 38 team. And we'll see. We are always starting to see of who the true contenders will be. It's been very competitive, but guys like Logan Williams, Chris Jericho, Alexander Rowe, Caleb Rose, they've all shown speed more times than not. But this is kind of the starting of a unique stretch because after today, we go to North Wilkesboro, Pikes Peak, Charlotte, Talladega. So it's going to be a unknown the next couple of races, and we'll see how that all shakes out here today. And everyone is running off still. And it's going to be 34 laps on fuel roughly. 34 seconds of tire fall off. Race 6 of the season. The Pilot Flying J 300 is about to get underway. Pace car is on pit road. And I will lead it the field into the hands of last week's winner of Willem Ayers and Kyle Craven. And race number 6 of the season. The Pilot Flying J 300 at Darlington Raceway is going for that race, and let's see who will tame a Lady in Black here today at Darlington Raceway. Oh boy!
Oh,
The 26th of Chris Barnes just got turned off of turn number 2 by Gavin Paley, and he's going to keep it going. Lap number 1 will be led by Willem Ayers. He's going to get bunched more towards the championship and the top way already. And here's the key that we will see all weekend long. This outside lane in 1 and 2 is not Luftwind here this weekend, and always seeing why here on lap number 2.
oh wow, that was sketchy there. Surprisingly enough, no caution there for Chris Martin's getting spun on the back straightaway. And already, top 3 pulling away from the rest of the field, about a half-second gap to 4th place, which is, ironically enough, Anthony Hernandez, who is really one to turn the season around. Besides his win at Daytona, he has not been seen too much in this series, 22nd in points.
Yeah, he got that big one at Daytona in a bomber of a race down there. And ever since then, it's kind of been mediocre. He's been outshined by his teammate of Eric Monaco at times. And I mean, if he can keep this momentum up, Ben Watson having a great start to his season here in the National Series. Jordan Stout going to get to the inside of Avery Alpha here off of turn number 2. And Alpha's going to get a Darlington stripe. But I believe that happened a couple times off turn 4 last lap. And we're going to see that all weekend long. And we're going to see that all day long. 56 laps. One of the longer races lap-wise, but it's still going to go by pretty fast. And we'll see how these drivers end up doing with the handling. Because most likely we are going to see some comers and goers all day long with a 3 or 4 second tire fall off. And speaking of which, here comes Aaron Abel to the inside for Ayers for the race lead.
Yeah, Aaron Abel there in the 39, RSS Racing, not really the start of the season they really wanted. With the driver lineup they have Aaron Abel, who almost won a championship in the World Cup Series with Blaine Keys, Caleb Rose, one of the more consistent owners in that series, but also Facility Mendoza and Bradley Ream. Hopefully they get it turned around soon enough. They do have the pace, as Abel got by both Ayers and Burnett, getting off the Alpha Prime sandwich. And speaking of which, Logan Williams isn't too far behind, I don't think, in the 11th position, trying to keep his top 10 streak alive. 5 top 10s in a row. That's an insane stat.
And he might get into the top 10 right here. He's gonna shove the 97 of Amarco up the racetrack. But he's gonna get a good one on exit. And we'll see if we can make a move. And now two teammates are going at it for this 5th spot. Jordan Stout and Anthony Hernandez. Stout has been by far the most consistent car so far this season. Of course, won the Daytona 500 in the Cup Series and already a great start here. Of course, last year he won the secondary series that we ran in the Power Truck Series in Season 5 and already a strong contender. Watson might have a long one car, might be saving his stuff. He's caught to the top 3. And Alpha looks strong. And Kyle Craven still looks pretty strong in that 15 machine. Good one for that team and Kyle Sustry. And everything is calming down for now. These guys know that, hey, we still have 28 laps on these tires potentially. Need to save the stuff here. But it's looking good for Abel at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely is. Aaron Abel in the 39. His teammates have... Never mind. Let's get back to that. 4th place is very interesting. That's Bay Watson and Chase Harris's team. One of the more consistent drivers. I wouldn't be surprised if Watson does make the playoffs here. Jordan Stout's in the top 5. And he's by himself as the rest of the top 10 is trying to scramble along themselves. Here comes Kyle Craven putting Hernandez up into the wall even.
And there goes 5 to 8 spots right there, and that's the thing that you want to do. You can get a stripe and get away with it, but you don't want to slam the outside wall, and that's unfortunately cost Hernandez there. It was tried getting, Burnett tried to get inside of his teammate, didn't work out, and now Ben Watson who tried on the outside in turn number 1, gonna lose some of the spot. I like this number 11 Jordan Stout at the moment. He is doing a nice consistent one. He doesn't look like he's too fast, but he doesn't look like he's that off the pace either. Might be saving his stuff, and that's going to be very important here. And we'll see what ends up happening. Abel still leads. Ayers in 2nd, Burnett, Stout, and Watson in the top 5. Avery Alfred, Kyle Craven still having a great one. Caleb Rose and Maynard Lookmans is inside the top 10, trying to make it 6 for 6 with top 10s already this season. And then Eric Marco inside the top 10 and 10th. Duncan Wood, he's had a double-edged sword type of season. He's at speed, but he's also had a lot of bad luck, and he's just outside the top 10. Felicity Mendoza in 12th, Hernandez in 13th, and a great one for the number 91 machine of Zane Davison, just inside the top 15 in the field. Rounds out the top 15. Everyone's settling in, and we've seen this battle multiple times already this season. Logan Williams is going to get past the 38 of Caleb Rose.
Caleb Rose there, who I just researched the point stands. Caleb Rose is 16th in points. Aaron Abel 20th in points. This is a well-needed run here for this 39 and also the 43. And just as I say that, Stout's gonna get by him for 3rd, and Watson passed him for 4th. Matthew Burnett's 24th in points and moving up 7th after getting his first top 10 of the season from 31st. And hopefully he settles into 5th position, as here comes Ayers trying to go back-to-back in the Krispy Kreme National Series.
This would be something if the 45 car can get the 2nd straight win. If he does that, that would be, what, 4 wins in the first 6 races for the team. And that would be impressive, but we're not even halfway through this pit cycle, and we're definitely noticing these tires are falling off. And I think Logan Williams, he might have been just saving his stuff massively for the long run, because now he's up to the 8th position, all over the back bumper of Kyle Craven. Avery Alpha might have been saving his stuff a little bit, and I believe Abel has a strong enough car at the moment to maintain this gap over Ayers, but I think Ayers might have a little bit better of a long run car. I think Jordan still has a really good long run car. It's gonna be interesting what ends up happening. We've seen some Darlington stripes. Cable's gonna get stuck up top here, and if he does not get down to the bottom off turn number 4, which he is, But now that might cost his teammate, ironically, Mendoza, and Hernandez could be stuck on the outside lane once again in 1 and 2.
Well, I didn't mean to jinx Anthony Hernandez there. He started well inside the top 10 and is fallen back to potentially outside of the top 20 even, as we see Ryan Durrani get past him, I believe, in the 19. But also guys like Keegan Thompson trying to pass him as well. And another driver who hasn't had a good run, despite being top 5 in points, Carson Miller fell off. The outside lane not really working well to his advantage.
But definitely a little bit of a struggle for Carson Miller here today. He still has 6, but just still on the outside lane and dropped to the outside of the top 20. Great one from Keegan Thompson. He's definitely needs this one. He's been a little bit focal on the disappointing start to the season, but he's definitely having a good one here today. Crouching with a little bit of a one. Dwayne just outside the top 15. Zane Davidson, though, a fantastic one for this number 9 team. Gonna get past Caleb Rose. And that's 44 is still all over the back bumper of the 15, but lost that ground in 3 and 4. It looks like the top 8 are the best cars here at the moment. And Jordan Stout is closing. We might have a battle for second here shortly.
I wonder if Stout is saving up his stuff to try and get past Ayers before the pit cycle works out. It could work. Let's see how if he doesn't burn up his tires after getting past the 45, because the 48 is also right behind Ben Watson, a relatively good driver there, winning in the on Travis's series at Atlanta last time out. So he's in 4th, trying to get by Stout, as Stout was trying to get by Ayers, and battle for 6th, trying to heat up between Alfred, Kyle Craven, and Logan Williams. You can't get rid of him.
You cannot get rid of Logan Williams this season. It is insane of how consistent he has been. And there goes Jordan Stout, and there goes Ben Watson. You mentioned Watson. He won last time on the channel at Atlanta for the Red Line Oil Cup Series. That's his 11th win on the channel, I believe, as a driver. So he's getting up there with Juan Garcia, and he might be in a position to get win number 12 here today. But it is all unable up to this point. He took the race lead early on, and he has not took it back since. But I am liking Jordan Stout and Ben Watson especially. These two seem to be some of the best long run cars here at the moment. Same with maybe Avery Alford and this 44 of Logan Williams. Duncan Wood got past 97 as he's going to lose 3 positions. And oh, what on earth is happening back here? Oh, I think someone just blew an engine. And it was Brandon Beal.
Man, tough break for Brandon Beal. You know how good he can be in the Rain Series. Won 2 races in the Cup Series for Stewart Haas Racing, and that's gonna stack up basically everyone from Bradley Ream on back. And I was wondering why there was a massive gap from Eric Marco there. But just as I say that, that's gonna allow Zane Davidson to get into the top 10. That's gonna be a well-needed run for him, and Duncan Ward as well in the 5.
Absolutely great ones from both of these drivers. They have potential. They've had some flashes of speed, but they've not had the best of luck in these races. And well, they got luck. Well, they got a piece of luck, unfortunately, from Brandon Beal blowing a motor, and that's why it is very spread out from basically 9th on back. We have a 3-way battle between the 11, 48, and the 45, and Abel's just so strong. It's been about 7/10 of a second once he took this race lead, and he's looking pretty good to maybe win this thing. Have to start talking about maybe a little bit of pit strategy, about 8 to 10 laps away, and I don't know when you want to really pit, whether it be early or late, but it's gonna be something that ends up happening. Mendoza Thompson, Minnick, Dewani, Amari Jr., Cousin Miller, and all these guys just single filing out, and oh no! 92's going down pit road. He just had an oil leak issue.
And that's DGM Racing. Tough luck for their season. I'm not sure what to say. They haven't had any luck at all, especially with the driver's layout. You mentioned Zane Davidson having potential, and he's using it to his advantage in the Wall Cup Series in the Uncharted car. But whether it's in the Krispy Kreme National Series or in an Uncharted car here in the Wall Cup Series, rather, Haley Anderson Jr. can't really find any luck. And I noticed in here, Watson really looking to get by Stout, maybe pulling William Ayers along with him.
Yeah, you mentioned Haley Anderson Jr. It's been a tough start for DGM Racing, and both of those drivers of Haley Anderson Jr. and Zane Davidson have really good potential, but they are both 30th and 31st in the point standings. Davidson having a good one, but unfortunately the 92 just had a oil leak issue. Now, the bright side, if that 92 team can stretch it, maybe they can make it all the way. It would be very, very close, but it's gonna be interesting. The 92 is one lap down, and then Beal ended up being a header issue, and actually the 92 is 2 laps down. So, gonna have fresh tires. Maybe it will look out for him, I don't know. But it is looking out great for Aaron Abel. He's losing a little bit of ground late in this one to Watson and Stout. But it's not going to really be close enough to really affect them before pit stops. But I'm going to ask you this. You're a driver in the JBL Cup Series tomorrow. If you were a driver right now, what would you do? Would you much rather do the undercut or the overcut here at Darlington?
Well, it's a double-edged sword here. On one hand, getting the freshest tires of everyone could be beneficial here. As we see here, Anderson Jr. right on the back bumper of William Ayers. But the downside to that is those tires might fall off earlier than the guys who pit later. But the guys who pit later are in a disadvantage, as they could lose up to 12 seconds from the rest of the pack.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I don't know, we just have to wait and see of how everything plays out here in a few laps time. This 92 on fresh tires is definitely faster, caught up to the bat of these leaders, but cannot get by. And it's going to be interesting of how everything shakes out. Abel's still doing a good job out front. Shout out to Duncan Ward, shout out to Zane Davidson. And we'll see what ends up happening late in this one. It's been a caution-free one so far. Of course, 26 has that left side damage. That lap 1 issue down the back stretch. And pit road should be open at any given moment. And these guys are doing a good job keeping it clean. And right now, these tires are basically shot 3 to 4 seconds to fall off at this point in the one. It looks like no one is really going to pit this lap, but it is getting close. And it's going to be interesting on who does what for the one and only pit stop of the day.
Wow, and just as you say that, Aaron Abel just extended his lead by 2 tenths there. It was about 8 tenths, and here we go. Stout and Burnett, first cars to pit. Let's see if anyone else, careful, don't hit the pit wall there. Alfred pits, as does Kyle Craven, as does Davidson, Rose, and Monaco.
A lot of drivers in the second half of the field are pitting here on lap 34 to lap 35. And obviously, it's no question of what these guys are going to do here. Take 4 tires. No questions about it. And Abel going to pit this time by. Same with Watson, same with Ayers, Williams, Wood. Mendoza's going to pit. I think almost everyone else is going to pit right now. And it's not really going to be a massive difference between the overcut and the undercut. because everyone's going to pit within 2 laps of each other here.
Yes, we say that there. However, I do want to point out, try and be careful coming out of pit road. A wreck could happen here if we're not careful. As we see here, here comes Aaron Abel, trying to get those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Maybe I could see William Ayers trying overcut if Abel does have a problem on pit road, but we'll see what happens.
There goes Abel. William Ayers is still doing his stop. And the 45 is solid stop. Look at Watson going to get past the 45 on pit road. And here comes Sean Stout, who did the undercut. He's going to fly on by the 39 of Abel and take the race lead. And it's going to be interesting. It's only going to be a 1 lap difference on the tire fall off here. So it's not going to be a massive difference. But that could matter a little bit late in this run. And this could be caution free, but we could have to watch out for turns 3 and 4 here, because it's kind of an interesting merge spot here at Darlington. It looks like we are going to be good here. And unfortunately, Davenport got a bad pit stop in that number 2 machine. He's had a lot of speed, but not a lot of results to show for it. Chris Shalko with a bad pit stop. Junior Motorsports as a whole had a bad pit stop. You see the 1, the 8, and the 9 all nose to tail of each other. But it is Sean Stout as the race leader now. He won at Daytona in the JBL Cup Series. Now he's trying to get a win at Darlington here in the National Series, with Burnett in 2nd and Abel in 3rd.
Man, talking about people who didn't have the best pit stop, I believe that's the A1 behind Aaron Abel of Bruno Giacomo, who, as a whole... No, that's Chris Mearns. Where is Giacomo, by the way? He has had a miserable start to his season in not only the Cup Series, but the National Series, but he has recovered very well from, I believe he started 2nd to last, and he's now in the top 20, which is amazing for him, trying to turn his luck around. And speaking of drivers who... Oh, Keegan Thompson's almost in the top 10 as well. He is in 14th. Very ironic there. Like I was about to say, 2 drivers who didn't really have the best luck when it comes to pit stops. Alexander Rowe in the 31, we have not seen him at all, and Carson Miller just dropped off a cliff.
Yeah, Rowe outside of the top 20 now in 24th, and Carson Miller dropped back even further in the number 51, as he is now in 33rd position. So tail pit stops for those 2 drivers. Haley Anderson Jr. is on the lead lap for now, but we'll see if that 92 team can make it on tires and fuel. Abel got past Burnett, and now Aaron Abel, who I think is the strongest car here today, is trying to chase down that number 11 of Jordan Stout. These guys are going to have fresh tires for now. Tires are not going to be 3 or 4 seconds off the pace at the end of this one, obviously, but there's still going to be some tire in the battle of 20 lap 1, and we'll see who ends up getting the race win. 2 veterans on the channel, Abel and Stout, going for the race win here in the Pilot Flying J 300. And Watson, I don't think he's going to get a win here today, but he's going to get a top 5. How about Avery Alford out of nowhere? He's been quietly in 7th through 10th, and now he's inside the top 5. Craven with a fairly solid 1 in the 6th position still. And then Mermaids in 7th, Duncan Ward in 8th, St. Davison in 9th, and Caleb Bowles rounds out the top 10. With 14 laps to go, Abel is catching this number 11.
And the gap has been shrinking a bit. Was consistently from half a second to about 8 tenths, but you can tell Aaron Abel has the fresher tires and a possible better run car. And one thing that I didn't point out, Chevrolet won the first 5 races of the season. This is going to be the first win for a manufacturer other than Chevrolet, which is a crazy statement there. And just as I say that, Abel is right on the back bumper of Jordan Stout.
Uh-oh, someone else just blew a motor down the front stretch, and it's the 20 of Kenneth Miller. There's no telling if that's going to be a caution or not, but tough break for the number 20. That's two Toyotas that have blown up here today. And you mentioned it, it's been all Chevy here. Alpha Prime with 3 wins, and then of course Alexander Rowe with 1 win, and then number 31. And then at Daytona, it was Anthony Hernandez. No caution for the number 20 blowing an engine, but that is a tough break for that machine. And it's gonna be interesting of what will end up happening here. April all over the back bumper still. 11 laps to go. Looks like it's gonna come down to these two for the race to win here in the Pilot Flying J300 at Darlington Raceway. Burnett still in third, and we'll see if that 48 of Watson can close in and make a battle for third. But this is the battle on the racetrack. Abel trying to get to the inside. Not gonna quite get there. 10 laps to go at Darlington. Abel versus Stout.
Wow, this is gonna be a tense battle for the finish there. Abel clearly has a faster car, but just can't get past the 11 car. You know? He'll have to really dive it into turn 1 at this point to try and even challenge Jordan Stout for the race lead, but he doesn't want to risk it too hard there, because if he does, Burnett might steal this one.
That is a great point. Burnett lost a little bit of ground, but these two get side by side and tangle, and that could allow that 43 to get into the mix and maybe have all 3 of the cars get a win. Here today, Abel is trying different lanes, wanting a lane lower than Stout in 3 and 4, and wanting a lane higher, and 1 and 2 kind of diamonding it. And it's staying about the same for these two, and meanwhile, unfortunately, Burnett is losing ground on the top 2. Abel again running the high side. You're seeing lap traffic might be a factor. Not entirely sure if it will. Carson Miller is now last on the racetrack. And oh no, the 45 just blew camshaft as well. That's 3 engine failures.
That's a tough break for William Ayers. He was running 5th or 7th, I believe. He was running 7th on the track. And I was wondering why the 5th 45 dropped off the top 10. And Logan Williams is now 10th again. That's going to be 6 in a row if his engine doesn't blow up.
Yeah, that's a big if. That's the 3rd engine today. 2 Toyotas and 1 Ford, 1 Chevy. Tough break for William Ayers. 1 last week at Homestead. Was going to get top 10. But now his other teammate of Logan Williams might get 6 top 10s in 6 races. Abel is still all over the back bumper, trying all kinds of different lanes here at Darlington Raceway. And I think lap traffic might be a factor. This 92 is fairly off the pace with that oil leak issue. I believe they might be able to make it on tires and fuel, but this is going to be a problem with 5 laps to go at Darlington. We'll see what happens. They're going to catch them in the middle of 1 and 2. And this might help Abel here if he can get to the inside during turns 3 and 4. Stout's going to get to the inside, and Abel's going to have to wait his turn with 4 laps to go.
Now, the thing is, Elliot Anderson Jr. doesn't have any damage from what I can tell. He just doesn't have the tire fall off there. And I was about to say, I wondered if Aaron Abel used up his stuff too much there. But that's probably going to seal it for Jordan Stout in the 11 car. 2nd win on the season for Colleague, and 6 races in a row for Chevy. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Did he just change 6 to Abel? Just got a huge one off of turns 3 and 4 cut in half. Abel still has a very strong race car, but only has 3 more laps to go. He's still closing in a good battle between these top 2 all the way along. I think Abel has one of the best long-run cars, and I think Jordan Stout just has one of the best cars, period. 2 laps to go at the line. Abel is still there, but we've seen it already. He can get the back bumper, but he cannot make the pass on Jordan Stout. 2 laps to go here at Darlington for the Pilot Flying J300. Abel gonna run right in the top track, running a little bit lower than the number 11. Gonna try a last-ditch effort with 1.5 laps to go.
It's gonna be interesting to see if he can make a move there. Aaron Abel does have a faster car than Jordan Stout, as I already pointed out, but as we come to the white flag, he has realistically one last shot to get him into turn 1, and unfortunately it doesn't look like Stout got wide there for a second, but
It's not quite over.
doesn't look like...
He needs to make a move in 3. He's not going to. Well, it's gonna be Jordan Stout hanging on barely, and he's gonna get a second win on the season overall and his first National Series win. Jordan Stout hangs on and wins the Pilot Flying J300.
Wow, and that was a finish if I ever saw one there. Abel clearly had the car to beat Jordan Stout, but just, I believe the tires might have fallen off for that 39 car. He almost had the opportunity had Stout not got by Anderson, but that could have been there. But a great run there for the 11th of Jordan Stout. Not really seen too much of Kaulig this season outside Fernandez win at Daytona, but this one was well earned for the 11th of Jordan Stout.
Absolutely, definitely one of the top 3 fastest cars here today, and I think that lap car of Harley Anderson Jr. helped him a little bit, but either way, he had to hold off the best car of the day of Aaron Abel, and it was not by much. Abel tried all kinds of different lanes, half a lane up, half a lane low, dominating the corners, and just could not quite get to the inside of that number 11 machine. Matthew Burnett gets third, great one for him finally here in the National Series. Wassup for another top 5 and 4th. 8th Radford and 5th. Kyle Craven in 6th. Duncan Ward in 7th. Finally a good one for him. And Logan Williams make that 6 for 6. 6 top 10s in a row for Logan Williams. Caleb Rose in 9th. And Felicity Mendoza rounds out the top 10. Great one from Eric Marco, Stout's teammate in the 9-7 and 11th. Keegan Thompson with a great one in 12th, definitely need that. Nick Lopez in 13th, definitely need that. Benjamin Namari Jr. in 14th. Zane Davidson definitely need that. A lot of drivers that finished inside the top 15 need good ones here today, and they got it. Dewani in 16th. Bernie Giacomo started in the back of the field, like you said, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, 35th, and he finished in the 17th position. That is very well done. Top half of the field for Giacomo, and it was tough break for Juan Jr., just a mid one for him today. Paley in 20th, Jericho and Garcia and Bright. Just an average day for Dream Motorsports here today. Harley Anderson Jr. one lap down with the Oil Elite, had to do a different strategy. Chris Mullins in 33rd after that damage repair on that lap 1 incident. And then, unfortunately, 3 engines went kaboom here today. Kaboom is, it was a camshaft. Kenneth Miller, it was a piston. And then Brandon Beal, it was a header issue. And that might be a preview of what we see here tomorrow for the second longest race of the season in the JBL Cup Series. 92 laps here at Darlington for the Southern 500. Great job from Jordan Stout with the flying thoughts for this one, and Hallie looking forward to getting out on the racetrack tomorrow for the JBL Cup Series.
Well, starting up front is one thing. Holding your tires for long enough is another. But as we saw, it could be possible to do some overtakes there. Brody Giacomo, for instance, was on the last... In fact, the 2 drivers who started on the last row of the grid finished top 20 there.
Yep, you were right.
We
Yep.
see there. Yeah, I'm
Yep.
fine now. We also see some there. RSS Racing finally starting to turn around there. All 3 of their 4 cars finishing inside the top 10 at the end there. Duncan Ward, Kyle Craven, the single car teams that haven't really been seen too much. I believe I was hyping Ward to be a dark horse for the championship, perhaps. He was 22nd in points, if I remember correctly. He finished 7th, and Kyle Craven with his first top 10 of the season.
Definitely a lot of drivers that needed good ones, got good ones. Like Craven, like Wood, Burnett, Mendoza, and it's gonna be interesting on how things play out here in 2 weeks' time, where it's gonna be a throwback kinda, not really a throwback race, but a throwback racetrack of North Wilkesboro Speedway. Short track racing, gonna have similar tire fall off there, about 2.5, 3 seconds of fall off, and that's gonna be a fun one. Some short track racing, and we'll see on who will be able to win at that racetrack. Earl Williams is going to increase his point lead significantly once again, with Alexander Rowe and Jericho and Crown Jr. and Carlos Miller and William Ayers all having problems here today. But thanks for Matthew Hubert for joining me up here today, and good luck in the couple races tomorrow. Congratulations to Jordan Stout on hanging on to get the race win, barely over and able. And we will see you guys tomorrow for the Denny 7-5 on the 92 laps in the JBL Cup Series.